What is it with you? What do you got, a death wish or something?
That's what it takes. I just want to race.
All right, Dieselheads, it's episode 30 of the Chronicles of Diesel, the only show that covers everything Vin Diesel, his games, his movies, his music, hopefully in the future, his art. My name is Ethan, and with me here to brood on once more is Devin.
I don't even know who you are. No,
Favorite
but like
line.
Seriously, I don't even. Where am I?
I am Groot.
Oh,
there you go.
okay.
There you go.
I'm back. Okay.
Yes, folks, that's right. For what might be not the last time, but the last time within a single stretch, we were finishing up a Groot role that Vin Diesel has done. This time in the 2019 film Avengers Endgame.
It really has been a Groot summer for us.
Yep, hot Groot summer.
Yeah, hot Groot summer.
Exactly. Yeah, so we're getting near the end of catching up. I don't want to say the end of the show because it will keep going unless he dies, I guess.
I mean, it's more just like we're getting caught up to his present work, in which one of them, the next one we're doing is one that we did already, but like 2 years ago when we just started this podcast. Yeah. Which will be interesting to see it come full circle in that way.
I shouldn't make that joke about him dying because I legitimately had a dream last night that I said something like, well, that's okay, your loved one, whatever it is, and at least she's not dead, and then like she died in this dream of mine.
Well,
to
be fair, we didn't do anything, but Meatloaf died like 2 months after we recorded the Blood Rain episode.
Well, really, if you think about it, he was finally able to pass on knowledge to someone, anyone. No one saw that movie, so he had to pass.
We were the only two people who
let
saw
someone
that movie.
witness it. He couldn't. Yeah, he had to hold on before then. But yes, this movie came out in 2019. But before we talk about 2019, let's talk about 2022, particularly the month of August. Yeah, we're getting close.
So yeah, this is the VNN segment of this episode. That means we're doing the Vin News Network. We're doing all the news that's happening. What's happening with Vin right now, this month of August. I'm going to let you know right now. It's a pretty light month. Probably one of the lighter months we've had. After doing a lot of videos with various actors on set of Fast and Furious, he only has 4 posts. He had a good streak going of like one or two a week with different Fast and Furious actors. He also promoted I Am Groot, some fan art, you name it. But this month, there's only been 3 posts.
Is that the lowest?
What's that?
Is it the lowest we've had?
I think it ties the lowest. I think we had one in March.
Oh.
One in March of 2022. But this one of the posts was just a video with him and Alan Ritchson, who's going to be in the movie, obviously. And it's them on set, what looks like to be in a airplane hangar, not like where airplanes go in, but like the actual interior of like one of those like in the Fast and Furious 4 where they jump out of the plane.
Oh, the cargo bay,
something like that. That's what I'm looking for. I
don't know if that's the right word,
but yeah, the interior of a big airplane with cars in it, and Alan Ritchson mentions that cars are flying.
Sick.
So it might be cars turning into planes. We saw a little bit of that in the last one with them in space, so maybe they're going to build off that idea. Maybe there's going to be a dogfight, literally a dogfight, but it's going to be Mustangs and shit. I don't know.
Yeah, they run the risk. I mean, even on their 10th movie, technically 11th, they still run the risk of actually jumping the shark because I don't feel like they've gotten that far. They've loosened reality bit by bit with each movie.
Yeah.
To me, it started with the safe in Fast 5, and then the runway that never ends in 6. You know, everything gets like
or when Vin
less
Diesel
grounded
from a tank
yes.
to to a car and They defied. They defied gravity there, but they also established that if you land on your back, you will live.
That's one of the few rules. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, like, they've strayed further from being grounded, but it feels like gradually. But if we're all of a sudden getting fighter jets that are just a Dodge, you know what I mean, in a Hyundai, I feel like we need to really work. But I trust the team.
I don't even give a shit. At this point, though, like, I'm bought in that, like, if it's like some Batmobile bullshit where, like, the car falls out of the plane and then they're like, oh, we're gonna fall, we don't have a parachute, and then Vin's like, but I got the next best thing, and he presses a button on his steering wheel, and then just all of a sudden wings come from the sides, and then he's able to dogfight.
It back to the futures with the tires where they rotate inwards.
Yeah, they hover or something.
But I mean, honestly, if they're in a car and they fall out of a plane, they already did that. But you're like, oh no, we're gonna crash.
The only thing they can do is, like,
here's
if
what you do.
Flying.
No, easy. Here's what they do. They get out of the car, they climb on the hood, and they'll be fine when the car lands because apparently it's always safe.
That wouldn't even be that far fetched to me for that to happen. That, like, they land on, like, a highway, but they sit on top and, like, it crashes, but they survive. Like, maybe they break an ankle at most, but, like,
these are the most durable tires Dodge has ever created.
Yeah, these Goodyears are the best ever been made. Yeah,
exactly.
But I like that on this video, Tyrese just types "wow."
Like he hasn't seen it before. Whoa, you're having a lot of fun making that
his
movie.
His character doesn't like going out of the airplane, so maybe he doesn't know about this. Who knows? Then he did a picture of him at once again at the Coliseum. We talked about this last week where they were shooting in Italy, specifically Rome. And he writes, "We've come a long way. Our crew, our cast, our studio has never stopped reaching higher. Most importantly, you never stop believing in us. Thank you. Hope to make you all proud. All love, always." So he gave a shout out to us basically right there. And then he did an Iron Giant poster, reshared an Iron Giant poster, and wrote, "Happy Creative Sunday. Can't believe it's been 23 years since the release of this timeless gem. Smile." And the top comment is clearly a bot for some sort of adult entertainment.
No, read it.
And it just says hot, and then it says like it has the drooling face. That's the top comment.
Oh my god.
Iron Giant hot.
That robot's so steamy.
But 23 years ago, and that just makes me think about this show that we've been doing, and like there's been moments where I'm like, man, I feel like we just did this Fast and Furious review, or I feel like I can't believe it's been a year already. But then there's moments where I'm like, yeah, Iron Giant, that one was a while back.
It was.
Like, that was, like, early pandemic, I remember.
Yeah. Now, to me, I feel like there's two eras of this podcast. The very beginning where we're like, yeah, this movie that doesn't actually have Vin Diesel in it, besides the fact that he opens a door, let's read the whole freaking thing out in a very long, winded recap. And then there's that era, and then there is literally this summer where it's all Groot. Somehow we got here, I don't know.
We learned along the way.
I feel like all the fun stuff was behind us.
Oh, we got Bloodshot, we got Fast 9.
Yeah, all the fun stuff is... No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, that's really it for VNN. I'll say that his follower count, because I know we like to track that just for funsies. Last month he was at 81.4 million. He is now at 82.5 million on Instagram. He does have a Facebook, but I never check that because he posts very rarely on there. I'm sure it's some social media intern goes on there and it's like, here's the next Fast trailer.
Sure. Is that all that you actually have? Because you are missing a pretty big Vin news that I saw the other day. I actually waited. I waited because I didn't want to I wanted to talk about it on here. I didn't want to have the text conversation. He's running for the Iowa Senate. Do you know that? No, he's not.
I was like, that's not true. I would have definitely seen that. That would definitely have been like a whole. That it would have been a whole extra segment.
He is American, right?
Yeah. Born and raised.
Okay.
L.A., I believe, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Not that we're denying that, of course. if he wants to run for the Iowa
What would,
Senate,
what would Vin
he's
Diesel's like? Okay, let's say he runs for president. Let's say he goes the whole 9 yards, and like every presidential candidate has his one like radical policy or maybe controversial policy. What is Vin Diesel's policy?
removing the drinking age. Everyone deserves to live with the corona.
Universal corona. But like he calls it universal corona and everyone's like, "Wait, what? You want to give everyone COVID?" He's like,
His
"No,
literal
coronas."
His literal like campaign like slogan is straight out of the corona advertisement saying "Find your beach." That is going to be his messaging. But
America
you know what?
needs to find its beach again.
Every now and then, whenever I hear like America and again in some sort of slogan, I'm like, I feel like we've ruined that.
Yeah.
Even if it's good. Vin Diesel running for president makes me want the beef between him and The Rock all that much more strong, because I would love The Rock to also run for president.
The Rock would definitely be the. I don't know Vin
favorite.
Diesel's politics, but I feel like they both be like diehard centrists. But I feel like The Rock definitely would
Gotta
have.
please everyone.
The Rock would definitely be more of like, I feel like the please everyone guy though. I feel like he'd be more willing to bend for the votes a little bit more, which both scares me but also intrigues me. Because I think he could be like, yeah, I want universal health care, but then he'd be like, I want to also have tax breaks for myself.
I feel like his
You know what I mean?
grind set messaging is like, you got to work off those loans. You got to, you know what I mean?
It could be
it's
that.
you set out on this journey. You got to walk the whole mile.
He wants to give everyone a stimulus check, but like he also expects like you to pay it back. Like that you know what I mean? Like,
oh, fuck.
He'd be like, here's your $5,000 stimulus check at the start of every year, but it's going to be taxed by the end of the next year, in some way or form.
No,
sure.
what if that would be a really like devious?
Or you combined them. Be like, that's the compromise. You have The Rock as president, Vin as vice.
Think about this for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that idea, but think about this for a second. A president gives a stimulus check in the last year of their presidency and says, you have to pay it back if I'm not reelected.
But like, I guess that would imply that you'd have to know that the other candidate would do that. You know what I mean? Like, how would that...
Fair.
Some sort of
if the
law
other
would
person
have to,
came and said, no, you don't have to pay it
There'd be
back.
some sort of like trigger law that will just be like, if they lose, everyone gets a bill in the mail that's like, you owe $5,000.
And it's one of those, it's a stimulus check that, I mean, you have to take. You know what I mean? It's just...
We don't care if you don't have a bank. We're going to find a way to charge
Next year, you owe us $5,000. Either take this now.
Oh,
and
you're
make
looking
it
to buy
net
a car
zero.
or buy a house? We're taking that out of the $5,000.
Yeah. You don't get to split this up. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about Avengers Endgame.
Speaking of politics, let's talk about Endgame.
Exactly. Released in the year of 2019, in the glorious month of April, on the day called
April,
22nd. Yep, we saw it in the theater together as a family. Yeah, this movie was like, oh boy, everything is coming up, Millhouse. And then we can't wait for the future after this. Let me put it this way, because I know there's a lot of revisionist history. People like to say that they were not this way because everyone's like, yeah, I kind of, and I'm part of this trend. Everyone is like, yeah, after Avengers, like I'm kind of falling off the MCU stuff. It's just like, whatever, like, it's like, it's a lot of them, and like, okay, yeah, whatever. Everyone has revisionist history about this. As soon as you walked out of that theater, you're like, I want to know what happens next. Everyone did it. You did it. I did it. Everyone sitting to our left. Everyone sitting to our right. Vin
Diesel did it.
Vin Diesel did it because he actually wanted to have a character with an arc. Because he's been in more movies without that character doing anything than having that character do something.
Yeah.
You could arguably say the first movie is the only one where his character did a meaningful emotional thing because he's a baby. And a brat in the recent ones. Yeah, and then we immediately got Spider-Man, which I felt like was too soon, but it was also Sony being like, yeah, no, we're going to make as much money as we can riding off this wave.
They knew
of
COVID
people
was
wanting
coming. That's why.
And they knew COVID was coming.
Could you imagine?
Any case, I feel like we don't really need to give much of an introduction to this movie. This was an event, for people.
A phenomenon.
A phenomena.
Yeah.
It was, a very expensive movie. I'm not going to make you guess.
I do hear when people are like, this was the last, great MCU movie. I would like if someone said that to me, I'd be like, yeah, I can see why.
Yeah. And like looking at their current slates, this phase that we're in, phase 4, like doesn't end with any sort of like, I think it ends with just a random ass TV show. And they're like, and then we start phase 5, which is weird.
So weird. Yeah, this definitely should have been end of
they're just like
phase or whatever, or maybe Spider-Man, you know?
And then like the next phase doesn't have any Avengers movies in it. So it's going to feel like, I don't know, like just a bunch of random stuff, but whatever. That's not the point. I'm at least glad that, well, they had a bit of a rocky start, you know, in the whole thing. They at least ended something with that movie, and you could, if you really wanted, just forget everything afterwards and be like, there was an arc. You know what I mean? There was everything there.
I mean, yeah, at least closes the story with like their two main characters, Iron Man and Captain America, really.
For sure. Yeah, and even kind of rehabilitated some of the worst parts of some of the movies as well. But budget $356 million, which keep in mind though it shares with Infinity War.
Still, you got to think of how like not ballsy it is, because at this point they know that it would make bank, but just like the fact that they're able to be like, yeah, we can put this much money into a film, like even with inflation and all that today, even like a big name franchise still only puts maybe 150, maybe at most $200 million into a movie. And that includes the marketing and all that. You know what I mean? And like the fact that they're like, yeah, we can do what Sonic's box office was into just the movie. And we understand it's going to make probably the biggest money ever, and it is. It is
largest paper bill box office. Now, it's weird looking this up. I know everyone was like, oh, it crossed $3 billion. It didn't. $2.798 billion. And then
at this
next
point,
year,
might as well be
who cares? And then the year after, Avatar got re-released in China and then immediately crushed that number. So it's no longer
re-released,
number one.
Again, I believe, in November,
yeah,
right before the second one comes out.
I do find like it's fascinating to look at these numbers, and the main hope is that it makes its money back, regardless of whatever film we're talking about. Our hope is that it makes its money back so that they can not think of the experience as a waste of time and literal money, and hopefully you get, you know, a future regarding the people involved and yada yada yada. But there is a bit of I remember the summer after this movie, 2019 summer. I think that was White Boy Summer, or was that 2020? White Boy Summer was one of those. We have to, you know, we have to call these. Now it's the summer of Groot. I remember people like foaming at the mouth to fight. I don't like Avatar. I don't care. Fuck that movie. But people were like willing to like go to a war and be like, we need to make sure Endgame Avengers becomes the biggest box. Like, who cares? I don't care about these numbers in that manner. I don't care how much money it makes. I want it to make money back.
People do that same shit with like almost any like popular media. Like, we need to get the Harry Potter movie to the biggest we can because then we can get more. Maybe the blah blah blah. I'm a big Godzilla fan. Everyone was with that with all three of the four legendary MonsterVerse movies because they were so worried about it getting canceled. I'm like, you buying 4 tickets, 10 tickets, 12 tickets is a drop in the bucket to what. At the end of the day, the theaters will just, you know, will determine based off their sales numbers what they're doing, because at the end of the day, they have an agreement with these companies to make sure that that's why you only, when the Marvel movie comes out, even the movies that are doing well get pushed to just the regular digital instead of the IMAX in Dolby, is because they already have a deal in place being like, these movies, I don't give a shit, these movies on opening night are all going to be Dolby because, one, we can charge more money for the ticket, and two, it's frickin' we're the ones that giving you these sales. We don't care honestly, that this great double A, for lack of a better description, indie horror movie or whatever is doing really well. Fuck that. Thor Ragnarok or whatever the fuck is out. Sorry. Like,
yeah. And that will make them money. But, you know, and hopefully the hope is you love the theater after seeing that movie so much that you come back and see the Black Phone, or, you know, you see X, Y, and the Z. That's not a movie. Don't think I just said
sure
a movie
I'm
there
sure
title.
that's probably
X,
is a
Y,
movie.
and the Z.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're right. And I mean, like, they'll just keep Thor in theaters, for 2
Until
more
Black
months.
Panther comes out.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
just
I
on
think 'cause
digital.
I just
like, people
got a
will just
movie-
go.
I was gonna say I just got a movie ticket for tomorrow night, and it's always like the top, even if it's been out for what feels like forever. I'm like, it's still at the top. They're like, hey, have you seen the new Marvel movie yet? So
Yeah, and everyone blames streaming for the fact that these are the only types of movies that make money anymore because DVD markets don't exist, etc. But whatever. I guess the world is ending. This movie made a shit ton of money and further cemented Disney's
Unless
reign
I'm talking
over the
about
planet.
probably like merch sales and all that. That's probably not even included in that
It's
number.
probably another 10 billion.
Yeah,
Just-
I
I mean, the fact that, let's Vin Diesel podcast, Groot's in this movie. The fact that there are action figures about his particular portrayal in this movie, as opposed to the other one that he was the exact same in, literally snapped. So it is a matter of seconds between that action figure and one you make for this one.
yeah.
You know what I mean? He doesn't age. It's seconds later for him, The fact that there's action figures and merch about Groot in Endgame in particular means that, they know 100%.
How many like gauntlets or Infinity Gauntlets were sold? You know what I mean? Just in the
the fact that the Iron Man version was the other hand was for that reason. So buy that one too. I will say this though, the Lego replica of the gloves of the gauntlets are cool. I like the Lego replicas of things, but they're also like $200 or whatever. So this movie released April 22nd, I think, 2019, to a global box office of $2.798 billion. This was a movie shrouded in secrecy to the point where one of 2 trivias that I have for this entire thing, because guess what, guys? I'm not looking up all the fucking Marvel trivia for this movie. And I found this one interesting. The only actor that actually got to read the entire script to this movie, take a guess. It's
Robert
not Vin
Downey?
Diesel. Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. And it's because he was on the ground floor and because he basically got a gigantic chunk of Marvel or
Dude
something.
probably got the biggest check for this. Oh my god, can you imagine?
Well, yeah. I mean, after the first Iron Man movie, him and his lawyer sat down with whoever was in charge of Marvel at that time, because Disney wasn't even in the picture. Remember, Paramount was our Lord and Savior, Paramount. They published Sonic.
Shout out to our overlords, Paramount. Yeah.
Exactly.
We're swearing our allegiance now in the company wars in the future.
Exactly. The Paramount. Ooh, fuck. They basically, because he only had a contracted was the one movie, and they wanted to do a second, but like he was asking for too much or something. They said, "Listen, you're literally in a suit of armor. We can replace you with anyone." And he apparently got up, told his lawyer, "Don't let them leave this room until I own half this company," and left. So,
which is the most Tony Stark sounding thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, I mean, he was a very good pick for the role.
Literally embodies it.
I remember him in he was in Back to School, Rodney Dangerfield's Back to School. Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. Got a gigantic chunk of change.
Also, it's pretty ballsy considering like a couple years prior to Iron Man, like he was having
he was drugged out of his mind.
Yeah, he was in like rehab and shit. So,
yeah,
I mean, shout out to him to getting that check after all that. But.
Exactly. He was in 3 Iron Mans, 4 Avengers, a Captain America, and a Spider-Man. It's like 10 movies.
How is he not a millionaire?
He probably is. I don't know. I mean, this budget 356 that all went to him.
Every dollar. He's
Every
somehow in the loophole. He got a.
So your first trivia is at the beginning of this recap, and the second trivia is literally at the end. So we're gonna go through this kind of like we did with Avengers: Infinity War, where we're just gonna talk broadly in sections, and I literally have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 lines written here for recapping sections if we want to go for it.
I got a pretty good notes.
Oof. Yeah, you did a lot more than me.
Look at this. See that?
Oof.
Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, well, okay.
So I got this is back, but this is like either quotes that I found either funny, interesting, whatever, or just comments, and I'm like Like the first one I have is totally forgot opens with the Hawkeye scene. Bro got the
Yeah.
shittiest luck.
Yeah.
Literally his entire family, like not it couldn't have just been like one of his kids is around. Like no, he got the shit luck of like every single person he loved was blipped.
Yep. I don't like that that's the term that they use later is blip.
Snapped is better. It makes more sense. But I guess they don't know. Do they know it was how do they know it was snapped?
Listen, okay, I know you haven't watched I actually caught up on the Marvel shows on Disney Plus. I know you haven't watched Miss Marvel and the She-Hulk just started.
Yeah.
But the fact that the populace knows the America's ass line means that they would also know the fact that they were literally snapped away.
I like it's like it seems very like not on purpose, but
in fact, in real world life, we call that snapped. You know what I mean? It feels like they should as well. Not
it's more of just like the only way they would know that is if someone at that battle had like there wasn't like there's like CNN reporters on the sideline during this whole fight in this movie or whatnot. My thing is that means that someone at some point went to the media and was like, you know, when we got snapped.
Actually,
yes.
Then
we came back.
Actually, yes.
Someone just
Ant-Man did that.
Does he?
He wrote a book. And that's where that's how people know that Steve Rogers, America's ass, that line. They know everything from, and it's an easy way to just write off the fact that we don't have to keep like that's weird loopholes of how would they know this. I don't know. He fucking wrote a book. That's what it is.
See,
legit.
He gloated.
Exactly.
But I will say this before we start. So this is the second time I've seen this movie because the last time I saw it was in theaters with you on opening night. I don't remember it too much, but now coming back to it, I'm like, I think Ant-Man is that guy. Ant-Man is that guy. I think he steals the show in this movie a little bit.
Oh, that okay. I'm
He's
like
that guy.
What do you mean by that guy? Okay, yes, yeah. I mean, yeah,
the guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's the power of Paul Rudd.
Spider-Man, more like Ant-Man. Give me more Ant-Man content.
Exactly, regular-sized man. Everyone was good in this movie. I feel like I really liked. I mean, the movie's 3 hours, so I don't want to say I want more of it. But
like a 5-hour director's cut.
Honestly, I'd watch that. Sure, I'd watch
at some
that.
point. We have to go back to the art of be able to edit better. Justice League.
Yeah, well, I mean that movie
I haven't seen it,
couldn't contain itself.
But the reason
it
I
had to
haven't
be a
sat
square.
down and watched it yet is because I know it's long, and I'm like, I don't know if based off of my other experience with Zack Snyder that I'm like, this either can go very dry for way too long, or it might be super crazy for way too long, and I don't know if I'm ready for either.
Yeah, I have not watched the Snyder Cut. I don't think I will. I don't know. If we
it's
decide to
much of
do
a
something
commitment.
for this, then we will. But anyway, shit, what was I going to say? Whatever. Oh, yeah, I was going to say everyone was good in this movie. I wish we got more Rocket Raccoon and other character combination stuff. Because I feel like that was a little underutilized because every single fucking one of these people's never seen an animal talk before. Because most of these people are from Earth, not space.
Yeah.
Like, granted, no one really knows, whatever. But, and actually, I want to point out, so, they did that Marvel Phases 4, 5, and 6 blowout, hear all the movie announcements, etc. for behind the scenes at Comic-Con the other week. Probably a month ago at this point, or maybe even 2. And they showed trailers, or like short trailers, that public didn't get to see. In any case, for the Guardians 3 one, some of that leaked, and it was sad baby Rocket being experimented on, and a hand goes in reach for him. You see his baby eyes. I now want that cut with the video I saw on YouTube the other day of a raccoon falling into the gorilla exhibit at a zoo, and the gorillas pick it up by the tail and swing him around and throw it. No. And then the raccoon tries to, after that, scurry into a drain pipe, and the gorilla grabs it by the tail at the last second and yanks him out. Oh my god, that was Rocket. Okay.
Yeah, don't fuck with gorillas.
No, well, he fell in.
Shouldn't have been.
He fell in. Yeah, 'cause they should not have shot Harambe. I agree.
They should, yeah.
Hawkeye loses his family. We kind of just talked about that. It was a very sad opening, but I remember we were all like, why wasn't he in Infinity War? And then you get the people who are like, no one ever liked him. Be like, shut up. Yes, you did. You just refusing to acknowledge that. This movie, I feel like, proved that because he was great in this movie.
Don't give me hope. That's later, but
yeah, I actually wanted that to be expanded on more because I completely forgot about that by the time the Hawkeye show rolled around. I'm like, wow, how many people did this guy kill? Because we got one alley kung fu action scene, and that was it.
It felt like, yeah, that's like my one critique of this movie is I feel like they tried to put in too many like B plots and storylines that weren't from the main one.
Everyone's got to have some sort of closure for the finale.
But I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like they could have. From this, how long this movie is, I feel like that still felt like they tried to squeeze that in there real quick, and then it doesn't really end because, spoilers that we already passed that. But like when Black Widow dies, like he's just sulking, and then that's pretty much it for him, for his like storyline. Yeah. Like he's kind of told like, you get a second chance, I don't. Bye, and it's like, oh, okay. Like, yeah, it's sad, but
we could talk about when we get there.
Yeah, but based off the Hawkeye show, I feel like, and
I agree with you. You said this at some point. I don't know if it was on a podcast somewhere. That should have been a movie instead of a TV show. Yeah, shorter.
That could have been the
better
movie
effects
before this movie came out, and you probably could have took certain parts out of this.
Well, Hawkeye took place after this movie.
True.
Remember the toilet scene where someone wrote Thanos was right on the urinal?
I can't believe.
You have to remember too, like,
it's a fascist
if someone were to say Thanos was right, that means that him looking at that has to acknowledge that person thinks his entire family should have been gone. So I get it, but yeah,
they
it
really
is
just
goofy
missed
to
the
see.
swastika next to it. That's really what it was. Thanos is right with the swastika. Then that would.
It just needs to be a purple swastika.
Yeah. They're like, yeah. They just go out. They're like, it's neo-Nazis are just pro Thanos.
Fuck Nazis. I need to make sure I say that properly.
Oh yeah, fuck Nazis.
Not literally, you can kill the Nazis. Everyone reflects on how they lost, and they find Thanos on his planet. That's the next thing I wrote. Wow, that's a lot. You get the obligatory Disney. They're reaching out. They're trying to diversify. One of the directors is in this movie and says that he's on a date with a man. Steve Rogers is there, and he's talking to other people.
What if this is so fucked? But what if he was like, "Well, that's gay." Like, what if they had Steve, like, just like he's...
Listen, I'm from another time.
Yeah, I know, like, that's... just like he's like, he hasn't grown at all. He's just like...
Exactly.
Just complete dick. Like,
I mean, you guys don't boil your food like we had to, but, like, at least we weren't bleep.
There's so much missed opportunity with Captain America being totally wrong on just so many issues for comedic effect. I appreciate they didn't, though, obviously.
Well, duh.
But like, I feel like that would have been so fucked.
Hold on, you can vote now?
Yeah, exactly.
What happened in India? I thought our friends across the pond still owned this. Oof. Yeah, Captain America,
he wasn't radicalized.
He wasn't there yet.
I know, but like, he wouldn't have been Islamophobic because he wasn't there for 9/11. But if he was...
No, I feel like he would have been the person that would have done an investigation on the White House at the time. Honestly, feel like he would have gone. I mean, that's what the second Captain America was kind of like.
When are we allowed?
He went against his own country to save it.
When are they allowed to do that? Like when?
In real life?
I'm saying in Marvel, like when can they make?
To touch 9/11?
Yeah, to touch 9/11, but in a way where
that's
it's
the classic.
Where we're like actually being like, okay, what's the build up to that? Why did 9/11 happen? You know what I mean? Like that kind of, instead of being like Captain America is stunned by the towers falling, like what you said, he investigates the White House into like all the shit that went into, not saying it was an inside job, but you know what I mean? Like all the shit is like, we're going to use this
and just the stuff after the fact, the WDM, deep, whatever it is, WT-40s in Iraq, all the grease.
At one point we're going to be allowed to do that. Like, I would be a cool movie. Captain America's being like investigating Dick Cheney.
If all the planes and stuff that they use in that movie are contracted or purchased by a country that isn't America, then the FBI doesn't have to approve the script because I don't think they would.
That's right.
I don't know, but you got to think of this too. Like, obviously 9/11 real. I get it that like. I was just at the age where like I could have easily forgotten the day itself, but like it's real, right? You know, not going to be one of those people that there are people in the real world that don't think like World War II happened or the Holocaust because they weren't around for it, you know. 9/11 real. The attack on New York in 2012 and the aliens invaded and the Loki and all that stuff and a cube that's called the Tesseract, even though it's a cube and not a Tesseract. Not real, right? A lot of people died in real life.
But in the MCU it is.
But then they had, and I'm going to say this, it's going to sound awful, the events in Avengers worse than 9/11 on New York City.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Right?
Easily.
So, like,
I don't think you need that's not a
not
hot
to
take.
say this, I feel like we don't need to commemorate 9/11 if we have that day instead. You know?
You think it definitely would turn into more of like a general memorial thing? There'd be like a museum.
All the people that die in New York City. Remember when the Hulk rampaged through? I think that was in New York.
The Hulk definitely killed like at least 50 people.
Personally.
Yeah.
Like on purpose.
Yeah.
That's okay. He lives in Mexico now.
That's right.
He does. Yeah. But in any case, Captain Marvel shows up. I feel like even though like I liked the Captain Marvel movie, and fun fact, this movie was filmed before Captain Marvel. The movie was. So like she did the role here first. I still feel like they implemented her very weirdly and very much like we're expecting backlash, so we're trying to preemptively make her like counter that, if that makes sense. And I don't dislike the character in this movie. You know what I mean? But it just feel weird that's like we just need to make sure that she's in here so that we can set up the future. But we also don't want her to do anything because she hasn't earned this. Because she's literally brand new. Her movie came out 3 months before this one came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they wanted to make sure that the main characters they earned the fight with Thanos at the end. Let's keep her out of it. You know?
Yeah, my main issue with her in this movie is because of the setup of the prior one, where it's like she's going to change everything. That was the like advertising I felt like at the time, was that she's the reason why like they have a shot at Thanos now.
True.
And really all she does is she's there just so we can get Iron Man back to Earth. Which, by the way she brings them back is just her carrying them. How long did that fucking take? Does she start going fast? Like, we don't see her like. I just have it's a logistics question. So
it is true. It is true.
But I'm just like, I love when she's just hovering down with them. And I'm like, if she went at that speed, they would have been like, when did they
very
start?
Long time.
It would have been like 40 years.
Exactly. Well, they were nearby the planet Titan, which I know in the comics, he's from Titan, the moon of Jupiter.
Yeah.
But in the movies here, it's a planet named Titan. So obviously it's light years away, right?
Yeah.
If a livable planet,
he was just around the corner, that would have been
we would have known
difficult.
A lot sooner. But it does remind me of imagery of Superman carrying down a plane that I've seen before.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're right. Like they definitely set up. But I mean, again, it's the hype cycle. I want you excited about next movie. And while I never want to like hate for the sake of hating, I do remember the marketing for Shang-Chi literally saying, introducing us to your new favorite Avenger. And it just feels like yep, you're going to love this no matter what. We're going to pay to make sure you love it. And I liked that movie. I know you were off on it less than me. But I liked that movie. I like my hand to hand. I like my spy stuff. I know it wasn't a spy stuff, but I like my hand to hand.
I like the first half more than the second for me.
Why? Because it took place in America, not China. Oh, typical.
Yes.
Okay. In any case, they're like, yeah, let's just go to Thanos' garden and go kill him, and they all go there and they kill him. He's dead. Saddest part in the movie. IMO. Perhaps
I remember
it was
in the
too
theater
harsh
though,
on
we were shocked. I remember the whole audience was like, "Oh,
that's it.
We did it!" Yeah, and credits roll.
But then it says 5 years later, and I feel like no one was expecting that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I think everyone was expecting it to be like, "Shit, we lost. What are we gonna do?" And it was gonna happen exponentially, like
immediately
within that a week of everything happening, instead of 5 years later. But
because for the most part,
I kind of like that direction though, because I think it goes against our expectations. Compared to a lot of other movies where we have expectations going in, because of what they show in the trailers and whatnot. And I did avoid most of the trailers for this one before I saw it. But yeah, I'm glad that they went this direction because I think it just makes it a little bit more interesting.
For sure. And I mean, obviously, them jumping 5 years later and choosing to keep those 5 years the way they were allows for so much of the other stuff to use that as a time frame for them to pull stuff out of. Everything sucked during that, and people got displaced when they came back, and yada yada. I do want to say, now just realizing it, they could have taken all the time in the world for this. Like, there was no real race against the clock type of thing until they actually started, and then it was literally, you got to do this right now, because they were going through time. But yeah, like they could have waited 30 years and then did it.
Could you imagine? They're like, "Oh, I'm Grandpa Captain America. We gotta go back."
No, he would have been fine 30 years later. He ages slower,
I guess. Yeah.
But wow. Okay. They killed Thanos. He's dead. Head lopped off. 5 years later, Ant-Man is alive. A random rat happens to step onto a control panel. I don't dislike this. It's whatever. Like, this is literally what these movies are about.
Yeah. I was going to say, I actually like it a lot. Just, I like the idea that, like, there was a chance that none of this was possible. And it is, and that's the whole thing is this movie. It's all about, like, we only have one shot. Are we going to take it or not? That's the whole kind of big first hour of the movie is Tony Stark coming to the conclusion that, like, we've all come to terms with this ending that we lost, and we're all trying to move on. But now we have that opportunity. We don't know if we're going to get this again. Do we take it? Kind of thing. Because it seemed far-fetched for everybody that, like, especially after 5 years for the characters, not for the audience, but for 5 years for the characters, that it was like, yeah, they all thought they lost, and if there's a way to bring people back, they would. And then they get the opportunity. And I like the idea that it's just by happenstance, by a rat, stepping on the thing, super random.
There was, 4 trillion or 43 million different possible futures Doctor Strange looked at, and only one of them was where they win. What if it's because the rat didn't walk on it in all of the other ones?
Yeah, that's all it is, though.
It's literally the one change.
Yeah.
The rat stepping on that allowed
the rat
them.
gets caught in a mousetrap in, like, half
exactly.
of them. Like,
it eats something with the pesticide in it, Yeah, I like the memorials of all the vanished, they call it. I would imagine after they all come back, they probably just tear those down because they're back. It's a lot of real estate you could use for the next major event that happens and kills everyone.
Life insurance purposes, because that's the whole other question right there. What do you do about life insurance?
Right, you got to pay that back.
You got to take Papa Joe Biden. He's like, nah.
Here's the thing: world economies, I don't think, can
collapse.
function after half of the population disappears. Even assuming everyone with an important job in your local governments and all that stayed, still half the population, like the economy would, there is no insurance. It would take 5 years to get to a point where there's something functional again, I would imagine. This is just a dude that's talking straight about his ass.
The only one benefit of this whole thing collapsing, or the whole, everyone being snapped away. I really think that capitalism would just have to reinvent itself, or just completely crumble. In reality, if that actually happened, if, like you said, half the world markets would just collapse. You're talking about mass famines, probably, though. At this, assuming that no one knows it's coming. Like, there's so much shit that people don't think about. If half the population just disappeared.
And it's funny because the whole point of why he wanted to do that was so that we wouldn't destroy ourselves,
Yeah.
Obviously, there's just so many just holes in that. Like, how do you stop it from just stopping?
I think last episode, but Thanos' whole shtick is just ecological fascism, which is like the idea that overpopulation is a thing, which it isn't. By the way, but also just like if we just stop reproducing, if we just kill off a lot of people and make it fair, that everyone will be able to live long termly. But it's like it's just unethical. It's just like killing people.
He's purple.
And he's purple. Yeah, he's different for him.
Time travel is possible. we basically have this whole little mini arc where time travel, okay, that's a thing maybe. Ant-Man's like, oh yeah, the quantum realm. And then they go to Tony Stark, and Tony Stark is like, yeah, I have a kid now. And the lady that's in charge of the company called Goop in real life, she's my wife. And we basically just basically get to have a happy ever after. No one else does. And my whole shtick is I don't want anyone else having the chance of a happily ever after because I'm selfish. Even though, like, my whole arc in these entire MCU was gaining a bit of selflessness. And it does end that way, right? That was his arc for all these movies, was getting over his fucking ego and dying for a cause, you know? But you don't want to do that. Even though I feel like if the stones are magic and they know that it can literally grant any wish, literally just say what happened. Obviously, everyone that's gone, they come back right now. As opposed to changing time or anything like that. I feel like he's smart enough that he would have been like, all right, here are the exact terms in which you wish on the genie lamp of the glove. But, you know, you need to have a bit of conflict there. And then he's like, oh, yeah, you just invert the little rubber band that's folded in on itself and time travel is possible. Yeah.
I wanted 2 comments. His whole, like, cottage in the woods or wherever he's at, I give it a 10 out of 10. Definitely wanted, that's like, I definitely want that kind of vibe for when I retire in Montana or wherever the fuck. But I know that he did it all on blood money. But also I want to point out there's a couple good outfits in this whole movie. And I'm not talking about like necessarily people's like superhero uniforms or whatever. I'm talking about just like casual wear. Captain America's outfit in this cabin scene when they come to visit him, I'm giving him a 9 out of 10 because he's wearing like this black bomber jacket and he's got his hair all good looking. So shout out to Chris Evans for killing that look. Just want to give him a shout out there because sometimes we just talk about themes or the plot, and I'm like, you know, I'm going to talk about the details here real quick. Shout out to my guy Captain America for killing it in that scene. I give him a 9 out of 10.
I had to Google this, and I agree.
Like, I think he just, like, they just knocked it out of the park. Whoever did the costume for him, and for Chris Evans being good looking like he is, for killing it. Yeah.
Now in this picture here, I'm just going to point this out from this YouTube thumbnail or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a scene. It's a shot where Steve Rogers is on the left, Tony Stark is on the right. Tony Stark is holding his kid. He's basically saying, at this point, probably the line is, if you don't talk shop, you can stay for lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
I agree with what you said. However, in the background, looking almost directly at the camera, is Paul Rudd, and I feel like he probably has a better outfit than what you're saying right now. So,
I mean, I think everyone's outfits are pretty good in this. Compared to the other movies, I just feel like I noticed that they put in... That's where they talk about that $350 million budget. They're like, we can get them unique outfits for every day. You know, there's one more outfit I want to shout out, but I'll wait till we get to that moment.
Okay. Professor Hulk is in a diner. He's eating stuff. Cool. They cut a bunch of script or footage. I don't know what, but there was an actual arc planned for him reconciling the Hulk and regular him. So they cut our boy the
Hulk, but they give Hawkeye this like loose, I'm a serial killer now.
He got something. Hulk got something. Neither were fulfilling. They got something. Don't fight over scraps. That's how capitalism wins. You're supposed to unionize your superheroes.
They are unionized.
They travel. They practice time travel. They push time through Scott instead of Scott through time. That's why he pooped himself. Then Iron Man is back on the team. He gives the giant shield to Captain America. Like, all right, it's on the team. And then Iron Man and the Rocket Raccoon, they go to New Asgard, which is over there in the Nordic lands. I love that they basically fly a spaceship over there, but they don't want to get too close. So then they ask someone with a pickup truck to just let them ride into town.
Yeah.
I do love that though, because I like to see them sit on the back of the truck.
Speaking of Hawkeye, right before that was the Tokyo.
Really? Because after this, I wrote Ronin in Tokyo.
Oh, never mind. I do have the new Asgard. Then now to Tokyo.
Okay, yeah. Stay in your fucking lane there. My notes are going to run dry real soon, so we're going to have to go by yours anyway. We go there, you get Fat Thor. I feel like this movie did a lot of fat jokes for the sake of fat jokes. I understand what they're trying to do is show a literal physical metaphor of his mental state, and his depression, and the fact that he literally... you can literally say he is the reason they lost. You can also literally say Chris Pratt's character is the reason they lost because he just couldn't fucking keep his cool for 3 seconds. You could literally say that this is why and that is why, but he feels like that's why. He missed his axe swing, didn't pull the thing out in time to swing again like you're supposed to do when you cut down a tree, even the purple ones that have gloves. But yeah, he is overweight. I feel like we saw Thor Love and Thunder. I guess I don't want to spoil that, but you could see from trailers that Taika Waititi's character, the rock guy, I forgot what his name is, was in that movie. And I feel like I was still okay with him in this movie. Like, okay, because he was used sparingly for this one scene, and that was it. But I feel like this was when we should have let the character go. You know what I mean?
I feel that a little bit, yeah.
If
anything, I wanted more of, we'll talk about Thor, Love and Thunder, not going to get too spoilers, but just I wanted more of Thor and Guardians. And there was moments in this where I'm like, yes, we're the raccoon and Thor, raccoon and Thor. And we get a little bit more towards the end of the movie with him getting on board the ship to go do the next adventure, and it isn't as fulfilling in Love and Thunder. And it's
the trailers basically show you
they have
what
more with like his other pals, which is fine. I get it. They actors and budgeting and just
different ideas. I'm sure
wish, we got Thor with James Gunn.
Yeah, I agree. But he probably didn't want that.
Work, but I'm just saying that Guardians 3 or whatever, I wish would have had Thor in it or something.
I can agree with that. In searching for Groot-specific stuff in this movie, I saw a bunch of prediction articles about Thor in the next Guardians movie. And it's not... Because that's what people assumed. Instead of a new Thor movie, it was Guardians 3. Because I think people still, at that time, thought, okay, there were 3 Iron Mans and he's gone, 3 Captain Americas and he's gone. We had 3 Thors, so now he's a side character, like the Hulk is, because the Hulk ain't getting a new movie, although I think he might be now, having watched a little bit of She-Hulk, but no, he gets a 4th one, and it was, okay, whatever. Thor is back on the team, though, and now we have Hawkeye doing some fighting with the sword. They got Thanos, you get me. You can't give me what I want.
Don't give me hope.
Yeah. No, I mean, the action was very well choreographed and executed very well for this scene. And they probably was like, hey, we're getting one scene where we have to do, modern day ninja samurai sword swinging, slinging, gunblading shit. So, it's cool.
It just feels, I don't know, there's just something like, it feels...
We need more context. We need something in between. Just a scene of him breaking. In between then and now. Of him breaking. Because it's like a line that says, that someone says it, I don't even know who, to Black Widow about him. So you pick up on the fact that he's broken. Is it Rhodey?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
That's what I thought. It was like, okay, so he's lost his shit. We can understand. We can fill in the gaps, but I'd like to see... we can put him down. I'd like to see...
what they were saying at the start was like, I don't want to run into him because it sounds like I'm going to have to take care of him kind of thing. Also, I'm going to point out the contradiction, plot hole, I know, whatever. But if... you're mad at Thanos for killing a lot of innocent people, shouldn't we be mad at Ronan / Hawkeye?
He's killing mafia and yakuza and drug lords, and his thing is innocent people like my kids and my wife got snapped and you didn't, and you're still doing this shit. That's why he's doing it.
Yeah, I just don't like that logic.
Well,
I'm
you
just
know?
saying
And
I like how he gets
pays
a
for
pass.
the show, I guess.
He gets a pass, but you get away with
definitely-
murder when you're a superhero.
It's true. The Hulk literally is okay. And he had a movie where he rampaged through a city.
And kill
The government was after him, and he got away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Is he still allowed? He's probably not allowed there anymore. Where was that again? In like
that was in Harlem. The final fight was in Harlem with him and Abomination.
I meant where he was hiding in that first movie. It wasn't it like
Oh, that was in Mexico, I thought.
Brazil or somewhere in South America, Central America.
South of the border.
Is he allowed there anymore?
I don't know.
Do you think he's still on like their wanted list?
I don't know. Any case, yes, so he's back in the team. We do a test run. We send Hawkeye back in time. Okay, it worked. You're coming back.
I think this was a missed opportunity again for his character where when he comes back, I wanted him to be upset. That like, why'd you bring me back? Like, it's the first time I saw my family in 5 years. Instead of saying it worked, I wanted him to be like, why? Like, I wanted him to be like, he's supposed to be disconnected from reality a little bit because he's bloodthirsty or whatever. I wanted him to be pissed off. I wanted him to be like, had to be talked to, being like,
And then the Captain America rousing
selfish.
speech.
We can't be selfish, kind of
exactly.
thing. Yeah,
exactly.
So missed opportunity, I think there.
I can agree with that. And then I wrote very broad section here. One by one, they get the stones.
Yeah,
So,
you
I just wrote everything.
There's a whole section of them which I really liked of them. And I didn't notice this the first time I saw this, or at least don't remember it. So I thought it happened within like a couple hours, but it's clearly days where they're sitting in like the headquarters, Avengers headquarters.
Oh, planning stuff out.
And you could see that they like were sleeping there. They ordered a pizza a couple times. At one point, the Hulk has like a giant Ben and Jerry's like gallon ice cream that he's eating.
I mean, because if you think about it, they're not racing against the clock. You know,
and at one point, Ant-Man's talking about like he doesn't understand anything because everything seems like crazy to him because from his movies that he's done, it's just like none of this
very focused, very local.
Yeah.
The only time he ever bumped into them was to fight them at an airport.
Yeah, and he breaks.
And then he went to jail for it.
Yeah,
you know.
That's why I love his character because he's so local and he also just doesn't know shit in this movie. And he's just clearly he woke up from a 5-hour slumber basically, and everything is just like catastrophic. Yeah, there's like there's planets, there's universes,
right.
There's more than meets the eye.
Yeah, and he knows a little bit about what they don't know with the quantum realm stuff, but I do like when Thor is explaining, Thor being, the way he is in this movie, talking about the reality stone and dark elves, ooh, he does that stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, okay. But Scott is very much like into the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like he's hearing about there are elves in space. Dark elves, specifically the dark elves. You know what I mean? Yeah, and it's almost kind of sucks that his time travel thing was to New York during the MCU's 9/11 and not to the space planet. That would have been cool. What if he went with Thor instead of Rocket?
I just feel like though he was a good chemistry though with Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans.
Yeah,
I feel like they just had a great because they've all done like comedic shit before, so I think they were a good recipe. So I'm kind of glad that they had and Mark Ruffalo as well, briefly.
Yeah, for sure. Then eventually, yes, they set off. We split into 3 teams, which then immediately split up again in New York 2012, which I love this transition where it's just, this is New York and this is 2012, and it's like, oh yes, no, this is the Avengers
definitely
movie.
Hits the nostalgia
immediately.
Yeah, the nostalgia nerves.
Even though this movie was only
along.
7 years after that one, it still feels like a lifetime ago. And we survived 2 Whedon movies to get to this one. Now we see, the
also,
previous.
I like that they showed like kind of the scenes as they like that one scene where the camera's panning around them being all cool, and it makes me feel like. And I noticed this the first time we rewatched, or I think I watched Avengers separately at some point, and I just remember like their outfits look kind of dated, don't they? In a way. Like they look so 2012, and I'm like comparing like Captain America's outfit in that movie to now. I'm like, thank God they went that direction, because he looks kind of rough now that I think about it. In that first Avengers movie, I think they went too comic booky. Almost, where he kind of sticks out compared to like Iron Man or the Hulk and Black Widow. I still
love Iron Man from that specific movie's look versus any of the later movies. I hated it in Iron Man 3 where it was more gold than red. I don't like the nano suit. I like the chunky, like
I generally agree
stuff.
I just think that I get why they went. Yeah,
100%. Thor with the big giant, like, I don't know,
bulky,
gaudy outfit. You know, with the giant, I don't even want to call them nipples, but they're giant discs, you know, going down his torso.
I forgot the term. There's like a name for what those things are called, but yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. But yeah, I think him and Captain America just kind of stick out more. Like they look a lot more dated than the other characters. I feel like we'll see how much it ages as well. It's kind of like when watching like some of the 90s Batman movies, I'm like, oof. With some like the design. Definitely 90s. But
yeah, I mean, Michael Keaton could not turn his neck in those Batman movies. He literally could not turn his neck. That's why having just a collar that's tall in the Batman is such a good costume choice, because I feel like a Bruce Wayne would never design his suit like the Tim Burton Batman movie. Any case, we're in New York. They immediately split up. The Hulk, I do love where he's like, this is gratuitous, and like he's half-assing being destructive. He underhand tosses a motorcycle. Yeah. You know, I love it. He goes up onto a rooftop to find Doctor Strange to get the time stone, but he doesn't find Doctor Strange. He finds Tilda Swinton's the Ancient One. She tells him he's 5 years too early. And they have a talk.
That, 'cause I keep forgetting that like she has the time stone, so she knows what's going to happen. Generally speaking, just like Doctor Strange did, and it just makes it really cool that she's like, oh, I knew you were coming.
Yeah,
but you're late. At the same time.
Exactly. And then Captain America. Well, the rest of them really. They go to Avengers headquarters right after the fight ended. We get the end of like not the movie. Maybe Avengers ended this way, where like they all pose in front of Loki, who's down, and then Loki says, "I think I'll have that drink now."
It's close to the last 15
It's like
minutes.
something like that, yeah. Where like the fight is over. And they do that, but we see it from a different angle, and then we literally see the immediate after effect of Tony being like, "All right, let's stop posing." And then my favorite part of this whole movie is the Hulk going down these stairs, where he just looks down, he says, "Don't be stairs." I just love it. I don't know.
Yeah, they really did a good job of like kind of making fun of their earlier work and being okay with that. Like, you know, I appreciate that they didn't take it too seriously. You know, they did when they had to, but there's moments when like, okay, like everyone remembers this. Let's kind of, you know, make fun of it, not make it, because I think it'd been boring if it's just like, wow, we were so cool back then, or like, wow, we were such a, you know, like rehashing. Like, I'm like, no. That was the past. They're all grown up more, you know what I mean, so to speak. So yeah, I like that.
I love when Captain America fights himself and we see his ass.
I like the callback to Winter Soldier in the elevator, because that's a very I think
it's like literally almost the exact type of scene. It's the same people, but he handles it in a different way. And I forgot about it for this one, where he just says "Hail Hydra," and they're like, and then he just walks out with the thing.
I forgot that it was. I thought he was gonna have to fight him again, but he like would be better at it this time around. But then I'm like, yeah, he just says "Hail Hydra" and then just walks off with the
perfect
thing. Just great, fantastic,
absolutely. And now also, because like did you see the Loki show?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, you know that like, okay, because you know this Loki takes the Tesseract, and you know, and then that show happens, right? So it's not like this gets erased, this timeline, or it goes back to normal. So in this timeline, yeah, there is a Captain America that does not realize he's in on the Hydra thing, and that he fought himself, who was told that his best friend is still alive. You know what I mean? Like, I do want to see that maybe that would be a cool TV show. You make it 5 episodes or something, you know? I don't know.
I do have a note about like another TV show that I think would be good. We're just about there, so I guess I'll say it now, which is I think it'd be cool if they had a Gamora and Nebula show in some way. Like kind of like during the Thanos, like and they can just focus on kind of like some of the fucked up shit they did, or like conquests that happened. Maybe they do try to establish more of things that they're trying to get away from Thanos from, something like that. I don't know. I think there's like potential there, either that or posts with like Guardians or something like that. 'Cause I've always liked their kind of dynamic.
Yeah, I would like some more shows. Okay, I don't know. I agree with that. That sounds neat. Because there is one scene that it almost feels like it was inserted afterwards in terms of the script of the two of them, like, before them knowing anything about the future stuff, right?
Yeah.
There's one scene to kind of reintroduce the concept to the viewers, and then that's that. But, like, yeah, it just feels completely out of place because we didn't get to see anything like that in the previous stuff, right? So that also happens at some point. We also can cut to Nebula and War Machine, aka Rhodey, waiting for Peter Quill. I love this part in the movie in the theaters where, like, it's playing the song, but it's clearly only in his headphones, so they hear him just singing like a dumbass.
Yeah.
And they just punch him.
Literally,
And
that's
they
it.
take it. So in that world, he would have never met the Guardians. You know what I mean?
In general, yeah.
At all. That would have been it for him. And they take the thing.
But I like how they...
But I guess if they returned it back at the same time,
doesn't matter.
then he would have gotten up and gotten the thing again.
That was the
So
whole
that's
thing,
fair.
is they
That's
said
fair.
if they go back. But at the same time, they also mentioned that, like, going to the past is still your future. And I like that. That really, like, at the end of the day, it's not going to change...
Right.
When you go back at all, because it's a separate timeline.
Yeah, exactly.
I like
it
that
already
they
happened.
established that. So even if they don't bring the stones back, I'm like, they could still do stuff with that in a different way.
Yeah. And actually, I noticed this, obviously. This is my third time seeing the movie. I saw it twice in theaters, and then haven't since. So, yeah, same amount of time, but same for you in general. I haven't seen it since it was in theaters. I had forgot that, like, they jump back and forth between, like, the Hulk and the Captain Steve and Ant-Man and, you know, the Nebula and then the Gamora and Thanos a few times before they finally get to Vormir with Hawkeye and Black Widow. And they do that all in one thing.
Because I think it's shorter in reality than the other ones, and I feel like the set piece is smaller, so they know exactly what's going to happen. And I like that for, like, an emotional reason. I think they were like, we don't want to cut away and be like, what happened? Are they still fighting? I want it to be, because it was very quick once they realized that, like, oh, one of us is going to have to kill ourselves, basically.
Yeah.
To get it.
Yeah. And I feel like if they split that up, it would have lost its impact a little bit. Yeah, they basically fight not to the death, but fight to prevent the death of each other, trying to sacrifice themselves. And I feel like I get where Hawkeye is coming from. However, she has nothing to gain. And you know that you do.
Yeah.
So while you wouldn't necessarily want to just accept your friend sacrificing herself, don't deny the fact that you literally benefit.
But the
You know what
Black
I
Widow
mean?
movie kind of changes that a little bit.
But that's when we get to prequel stuff. Like, I do not believe that movie was written before this one, right?
Yeah.
That movie was like, yeah, and this is why she's blonde, this is why she has that jacket, and this is why she had that plane. That's like the ending of Black Widow was like, yep, this is why. Not that those three things matter, but it was trying to connect
I
itself.
was thinking it gave it her character, or like her sister was who I'm talking about specifically.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, you do have family. So I feel like, in a way, like, with all we know now, I'm like, it makes it a little bit like, she's not totally right now either. Like,
Yeah.
I think in this movie, like, yeah, Hawkeye, you should let her do the thing, as much as it's fucked up to say that, but you know what I mean? Like, but now with that movie, I'm just like, I feel like they're trying to put in that, like, oh no, she did have a family, but she lost her, but yet didn't.
Yeah, and like, as the actor Scarlett Johansson, the contract is a little iffy. Like, I hear some things that, like, yeah, she could technically still come back. Like, she's directing a Marvel thing or something like that. I don't know. Something. So, like, she could always come back, but her character's dead. So, like, and again, like, I don't want. They set it up where that Tony Stark died, but he's a super genius. He's made AI stuff. He's going to be an AI. When they decide to do that in the story, and when they get the contract back again, when he's like, you know what, I could use another paycheck. Sure, I'll be a literal voice in the because I think it is there's an Ironheart TV show, but she is in Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Riri Williams is the character's name, and she makes an Iron Man suit. And in the comics, he's an AI in her suit or something like that. So, like, they already have some sort of precedent to pull from there. If they want to ever get him back, they can. You know what? We did not see old man Steve Rogers die. So they can have him back as a supporting, mentorship role. They don't even think they ever said that he died in the TV show, Falcon Winter Soldier. They joke about him being on the moon. They definitely act as though they will never see him again. But that doesn't mean that like, if Chris Evans wants another paycheck,
he's like, I did my tour, I did my service, and now I'm retired, and just don't bother me anymore.
Exactly. No, I will literally not tell you about my sex life.
Yeah. We're doing a homecoming thing in a couple of years. I'll see you then. Exactly.
One by one, they get the stones. We do go back in time to 1970 New Jersey, the Garden State. I wonder how many people international overseas when Tony Stark says little trip down the Garden State does not ring a single bell in them because they don't. You know what I mean? Like, I knew. Oh yeah, it's Jersey.
I bet you the translation, like subtitles, whatever, probably just says New Jersey. I mean, it's not gonna be a bad line necessarily. Like,
yeah,
we gotta go to New Jersey.
But
you know, okay,
exactly. They go there,
or
and then
say
this
New York
is where,
City, and like that probably, could work.
If they didn't do this, then I feel like this got closure. This gives Captain America the idea of, oh, I could just go back in time again, and just, you know, be with Peggy. But then also this finally gives closure with Tony Stark and his daddy issues. Although, still don't see his dad as a necessarily great person, and I don't think he does either. Seeing him, but he does get closure, you know.
Yeah.
So he gives him a hug at the end and says, "Thank you, Rice says, thank you for everything you've done for this country."
Yeah.
I like that they made fun of his goatee, as a hippie beard.
Also, like, I feel like knowing, like, with hindsight too, of like knowing that Tony Stark dies, I feel like it just shows the differences between him and his dad, being like, he, like you said earlier, died for a cause. He, you know, did the ultimate sacrifice, as they say in the military, compared to what his dad and part of his early career was, which was selling arms.
Yeah.
Making death.
Yep, and double dealing too. Although I don't know if the dad ever did that, and Tony didn't realize they were doing that. To be fair, that's what his first movie was about.
Of course, the war criminal doesn't realize what he's doing.
Yep. You know what I just realized? Tony in that movie, in Iron Man 1, is George W. Bush, and Obadiah Stane is definitely Dick Cheney. End of my critical analysis. I have rehabilitated W.
Yeah, you did what the liberals wanted. Yeah.
Moving on. No, he's a war criminal, too. He can paint, though. Thumbs up. Okay, they all get the stones.
Of the people he's killed.
Although I do wonder, like, they went to a top secret facility. They went to a building that was secretly hiding an elevator down a secret facility, and this man said he was an intern or whatever from MIT. I mean, granted, Howard Stark, you know, he was probably drunk on the base there, because that was part of, you know, his back story, I guess, or whatever. Would have been like, who let you down here, though, kid? You know what I mean? I don't know. But I do love this whole Jersey
like we
stuff.
said multiple times that we've both seen this movie like years ago at this point. I forgot, but I thought he was going to get in trouble there, and I just totally forgot that's not what happens. There's just like lets him talk with him and then lets him out safely while stealing, the shit.
Yeah. All the stones, we go back. But another thing, someone else got. Nebula got by Thanos. They couldn't live with their own failure. Where did that bring them back to me? Well, he says that later directly to them, but it's a line. But I do like when he sees his own head get cut off in the vision. He says, and that is destiny fulfilled. I'm like, damn, this guy still believes.
That was my backup line for us, but I wind up doing the other ones of the bit. But yeah, that's a really good line. Probably one of his, honestly, top 3 lines for Thanos.
Absolutely. And that ass. Oh, my God. But yes, so yeah, Nebula is actually the fake Nebula from the past when they all go back, but none of them realize it yet. And they all get together and they create a new glove, a glove made of Iron Man nanotechnology. They socket all of the gems in. Iron Man does this thing where he's doing the thing that you see sometimes in these science labs, guys, where they're holding 2 joysticks or 2 single-handed maneuverable actuators, but he's controlling 5 little...
PlayStation 4 VR...
Yeah, oh my God. But these 2 things are somehow individually controlling all 5 of these other little tiny arms, each holding a stone. And I noticed that. And I'm like, I don't know if I agree. But they put them all inside the thing, and he makes a new glove. And then they're all fighting over who should get to snap their fingers. And Thor's like, worthless. Let me do something right. And Hulk's like, this literally made of gamma. I feel like I was made for this. Also, I'm bigger than you, so I feel like this might, not hurt me as much. And he does it. But we get the arm clutching, only bring us back what we lost. Don't change anything else. And he does it, snaps his finger. It almost kills him, but the work is done. It always will be. Hulk is inevitable. And I do like, Hawkeye immediately gets a call. I feel like her phone had been shut off, disconnected from the network after 5 years of not existing. But whatever. Again, these are stupid-ass little plot holes. It's fun to point these out, but for the sake of the movie, I loved. He knows because he gets a call. And Scott Lang is looking out the window and just sees more birds.
It's a CNN
and he's
or
like,
BBC alert on his phone being like, everyone back.
Exactly.
We've been saving this alert just in case we all come back.
Just like when the Queen dies, BBC has custom news out already ready.
Yeah,
they've
had it in
CNN.
They've had it in the vault for years.
Fox is like, and now everything's worse because the liberals got what they wanted.
Yeah.
CNN is also not happy, but for other weirdly stupid reasons.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, everyone is back, but so is this giant ass ship that crashes through the ceiling. But everyone is so focused on Hulk about to snap his green arm inside a red glove. With a bunch of different multicolored stones on it, that they don't hear the giant ship crashing through the ceiling as it gets shrunk, enlarged, and flies out of the ceiling, and then it rains fire, and then they almost all die. I love the scene. So the whole place, the compound is destroyed, right? And they're all falling below, right? Etc. Rocket is pinned and suffocating. Hulk is holding up a giant support thing, and Rhodey is trapped under his armor. He can't get out, and his legs don't work. He literally needs these things to walk. He gets out of his armor, the thing that allows him to have the ability to move, to save Rocket, and I think that was a very heroic moment. I
want to circle just a little bit backwards. I like when the missiles hit that it's just like it's Ant-Man just looking outside like, wow, it's so beautiful, and then like immediately gets blasted. I remember in the theater I'm just like, is he dead? Because that explosion was pretty big in front of him.
Yeah.
Like how? What if that's like? What if he died there? Like they're like that. Like they just for some reason killed Ant-Man off.
The comedic character gets no closure. No,
like
he just
comes
shrunk.
back. Yeah, he's the one that comes back after 5 hours, and he's the one that dies. Everyone else gets to come back.
Yeah. My God.
But no, I'm glad he lives. But like when I first saw it in theater, I'm like, oh shit, is he dead?
Yeah, because it doesn't hop immediately to him, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of motherfuckers to hop around, and that's what kind of makes it fun in the fact that, at least for your first time watching the movie, there's so many people that we need to keep bouncing to that you forget about some people. So you are a bit surprised when it happens around. I will say I was disappointed. Once Hulk gets them out of the rubble, I don't think you see him again in the fight.
Really, not too much. I think you see him in the background at some point.
Yeah, like, which is lame. I get it. His arm is toast, right? But, you know, whatever.
Another plot hole for this section, too, is once they get that gauntlet, I would run the opposite direction. Because they know Thanos is coming for it. Just run. No one will know. Everyone's fighting and being heroic and shit. And then maybe... Yeah,
it was dumb that they're like, we need to send it back in time, the whole gauntlet anywhere, essentially, was the idea, but that's too risky. Put it on the Hulk's other hand and snap the fingers. I get it. Everyone is like, oh, you'll die, but it's a fight and no one knows what they're thinking.
I'm just saying, grab it, and then because they were killing Thanos, by the way. They were winning until he got the gauntlet again.
True. Well, we're jumping way too ahead for that. I love, he gets down. Old 2014 Nebula comes up and says, you know, I did it or whatever. Like, cool, we're here.
I did it.
And he says, go get me the stones. And she says, what will you do? And he says, I will wait. And he sits down. I'm like, bad motherfucking ass right there.
Yeah. And he just puts, and he has this sick, like, I don't know what you could call it, like a double sword thing. Like
it's just two broadswords connected to each other at the hilt.
It just looks so good. And we know it's super strong because at one point he literally like cuts through Captain America's shield with it. Like it's
and he spins it. It must be on some sort of rotator in the center because it spins at one point to deflect lasers.
Yeah, it's very comic booky, but in all the right ways, and I like it a lot. And
I
love when he has the helmet
resting on top.
Yeah, just like it's this very like almost samurai kind of movies where it's just like, and there's an honor thing for him where it's like, I know they're gonna come. And I will beat them again. And I just love that. Like, to have that that much clout around you, being like, yeah.
Yep. And then we get Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor. They're standing overlooking. And they're like, what's he been doing? He's just sitting there. Perfect. Thor does the lightning, and then he gets his hammer. Oh, yeah, we completely skipped. He talked to his mom. And then Natalie Portman was there, and I thought... She said she would never come back over the fact that the director was swapped for Thor 2. She said she's never coming back. So these must have been reshoot scenes from that movie of her just lying in a bed and getting up, and that was it. And they just CG'd in a raccoon. You know what I mean? No, that was actually real and filmed for that movie. But yeah, he talked to his mom. He gets a little bit of closure, whatever.
But there's other parts we've glossed over. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Thanos wins again at the end of this movie. I made that joke to you in a text. Like, it's weird. My version, he just wins again. That was it. And while they would never do it because of the budget required to do it, but that would be a fun alternate universe look, is be like, what happens if he wins again?
Well, wasn't he just going to wipe out the whole human race, so there would just be no human race?
He was going to, well, not the human race, the everything race. He was going to wipe out the entire universe and rebuild it, so that they wouldn't know that it ever happened, and therefore wouldn't try to prevent it from happening in the past.
Just this super god,
right?
Fuck logic.
And then that's just this part where his logic broke down, but he needs to do something, so he tries to pull a Sephiroth and become a god. You know what I mean? So, always ripping off Japan. Stupid American comics.
I've watched your enemies, and I think I can be... the main.
Have you seen my Flintstones? Yeah, and they fight. But I will say, the three of them are standing and they're overlooking Thanos before they fight. Thor gets his axe and his hammer and the lightning. Stupid little pet peeve. His hair and beard and all that, it's braided and changed before the transformation. And I saw that, I'm like, I feel like this was a mistake. Because, like, you can say, oh, the magic lightning changed his entire look.
Yeah.
But the lightning happens after his look changed.
It's probably just like they forgot to...
I think they did, but you know what? He still looks cool. You know what I mean? Although I would have loved to seen him shaved as, like, you know... Because, like, Captain America puts on a stupid-ass helmet for this fight.
The helmet's, I think, is a lot better than, like I said earlier, than his
right, I agree. But if he's willing to put on a classic-ish look, Thor, you can shave quick. You have an axe. It's gone. If War Machine can go back inside and find another set of armor that's red and black and like Draken-like, y'all can shave in that amount of time. Just putting that out there, Thor.
But no, this is the big hype scene though, for real. Because I remember in our theater seeing it because we saw opening night, so the real ones were out there,
real deal.
And the crowd has been pretty energetic. I remember the whole night. But then like when this happened, when like they're all walking up, like you could feel the hair stand on the back of your neck in the scene, and then everyone being like, "Oh shit, oh shit!" But you're also scared because you know Thanos has the ability to kill all of them,
and you know that like none of these people, not none, someone is going to die surely. So how is it here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it could be so effortlessly and feel awful, you know, to see. It still could have happened.
It's like with every like sword, every time he swings his sword towards one of them, you're like, is this it? You know what I mean? Like they did a really good job of, even now knowing what happens, like I still got like chills watching this movie.
And favorite part of the fight, Iron Man gets, I don't know, he gets knocked out or something. Thor is about to get basically impaled with his own axe. But Captain America, he can use the hammer, and the hammer flies, and he catches it, and I love it. And Thor says, I knew it because of a scene in Age of Ultron where they're all trying the hammer out, and it just wiggles a little bit, but Captain America's not trying to prove anything to anyone, so he doesn't actually pick it up. But Thor gets a suspicion. I love that callback. This movie has a callback to literally every single movie that they've done.
And I remember once again, the crowd was like, I think that was the loudest they were the entire night when we saw it, because everyone's like, people were standing up, being like, let's go, when he grabbed the hammer.
Absolutely.
And at this point, I've always been like not the biggest fan of Captain America in the sense of like his idea. In the movies, I've learned to like him, especially after Winter Soldier.
Yep,
Civil
the best
War.
Marvel movie.
The Civil War, I get, but I feel like there was moments where I'm like, eh. But whatever. At this point, I'm just like, how do you not like this shit? How do you not like a dude with a shield and a god hammer?
And a hammer.
It's just like,
and he's using them in tandem.
There's at one point like he like has it come backwards and he hits it off his shield back into like Thanos' face. Like I'm just
something. Yeah, there's chemistry
effect
between them. Absolutely.
But then it's still not enough. So he's still not OP
and he
enough.
Fights. And then and he's down. His shield is like literally cut in half. And he gets up to march back. He's gonna fight them till his last death. He did it with the Nazis. He can do it with the purple
Nazi
millennial Nazis. But what does he hear? Another favorite callback of mine. He hears in his intercom, "On your left." Now, do you know why that's a callback, Devin?
Because they said it in the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when he first meets, I almost call him Rainn Wilson, stupid actor from The Office. Sam Wilson is him running around the Washington Memorial Pond. I don't know what that's called. They're both jogging there, but he keeps passing, he keeps saying "on your left, on your left." So that's a callback to that. And then, but I forgot because I thought the portal opens and you immediately see Falcon fly out, and then you see Black Panther. And his sister, and then Shuri. No, Shuri is his sister. I forget who the other one's name is. The one that has the spear. Oh, they all have spears. Whatever. There's three of them for a while, and they're like, okay, it's on. And then he flies out, and then more portals open up, and it's like all these motherfuckers, and you're like, okay, I'm seeing so many different minions that we can easily say are the only people that died, and none of the good ones for this fight. Okay, we do see Groot. And then we don't.
We finally see Groot, and then...
Maybe pops up in the end.
Maybe he's at some part in the fight, but I do not remember it.
Yeah, I don't. I did not see him in the fight at all, nor did I see the Hulk in the fight at all. But all sorts of little callbacks that are fun. You get Evangeline Lilly's a Wasp calling Captain America Cap, which she always made fun of Ant-Man for calling him Cap. You know, just so much. I don't know, so many references. There's Valkyrie's on a flying horse. You get Spider-Man's instant kill mode. I
just wish I don't know what it is, but there was something missing for this scene for me. And even when I first saw it, like I thought it was cool, but there was something missing. I don't know if it's just like the choice in which they introduced the characters, or maybe like the shot selection, I guess is better, the cinematography. It just felt like there was so much shit that it felt like a little overboard for me, where I'm just like, I get okay.
You almost
I get
had
it.
to pause it to see everything.
Like, I just felt like they're like, okay, we gotta get everybody in here, and it's like, I get it, everyone's here. Like, I wish there was a way where they could have, maybe it was just one portal together. That could have been maybe cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
The idea of just all of them, like, there's like you said, there's 50 portals at one point being shown, and I'm like, that's too overwhelming for me. Like,
But hey, when are you going
whatever.
to do this again? Right?
I get it. I get why people are hyped. But I just wish there was something missing for me that like didn't hit fully home.
Yeah. And you don't take the fight too seriously because Ant-Man and being big could do probably more than he did. Doctor Strange is literally being not taken out of commission, but he has to handle a typhoon because, they bombed everything. So they're lower than the water level and the dam or something breaks. So he's just holding that at bay. He's not doing anything
by the way,
else.
Isn't this like in Western New York still? Wasn't this in like Buffalo?
This is upstate New York, yeah.
See, how does that feel that like our hometown gets the biggest stage in the universe?
I don't know if it was Western New York. It might have been just like near Albany type of Eastern
Still
New
count.
York.
That's still our land.
This land is our land. Avengers,
I'm just saying,
change our
like
flag
they
to
could
the
have done
A.
that anywhere. They could have brought back to New York City. They could have put it in San Francisco or something. They could have put it in a desert. It would have probably been easier to CG. I still think they nuked the entire thing to make it easier to CG shit. But
Probably.
I want to say, like,
They don't need to be consistent with shots.
The battle of the entire universe was set in fucking Western / upstate New York, which is like just fine. It's just funny to me. They're like, "Yep, here we got we found a place in the middle of nowhere, New York, and this is where
It's
the
just
biggest
like
battle is going to take
in
place."
Infinity War, a plane in Africa.
Yeah,
Also easy to, CG stuff around too, right?
Yeah, I just thought it was
the
funny.
same.
Just like, I'm like, we got our shout out. We got our shout out for the
Absolutely.
biggest battle of the universe. People don't know this, but New York is.
That was the callback that mattered the most.
Yeah, it was like
all
we
us
know
New Yorkers.
We know there's this very niche podcast that will one day review this years later, and we'll both be from upstate New York, and we wanted to give them a shout out right here. So,
Yep.
and that's why we only have one Groot line as well.
Yes, and actually, I know what that line is. What he actually said too, which is my last thing we'll get to. We win. Iron Man. I know, like, Iron Man snaps his fingers. And the second time I paid attention to this in theaters, and the third time, obviously, I know this too. How do you get those stones? Because in the heat of the moment, that first time watching, you're not expecting it. So when Thanos snaps, I was not expecting it not to work. I honestly thought it was going to work. I'm like, no, like, there's still more of this fucking movie that they're going to keep having to do, right? Then Iron Man does it. He says, "I am Iron Man." That was ad-libbed in the moment, but it's perfectly. He ends his last movie how he ends his first. You know what I mean?
I want to say
Iron
that he
Man.
basically rolled a natural 20 on a sleight of hand check is what he did. He had to roll a natural 20 to pull that off, and he did.
That's true.
In the
That's
clutch, he rolled whatever his additional dice roll was, but yeah, rolled natural 20, just 26, whatever it was, fully, and just pulled it off. Good
Yep,
for him.
yep.
Because if it was
Got all five.
if it was a 19 or something,
Bonus
I don't
bonus
know about
action,
that.
snap his fingers.
I think
You know?
I think he gets his neck snapped if he doesn't roll that natural 20.
Jesus. Yeah, it said he gets caught by the gauntlet right at the neck and it just crushes his
Yeah,
windpipe and
yeah.
he dies. But yeah, he snaps his fingers. Yay! Peter finds Gamora again because remember she died, but this is past Gamora came back. She kicks him in the balls twice.
Good scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested to see where Guardians 3 is going to go. That's a Vin thing, so we can spend time talking about that, I guess. But that's exciting. I don't know. Everyone's okay at the end there.
It's all sad because
Everyone that matters.
the Iron Man dies and everyone's
Yeah.
crying and shit.
They
Yeah,
do
I
a
was
Viking
still
funeral
sad.
for
I was
his-
still sad, even though I knew it was coming and everything. I was like, damn,
Yeah.
it still hurts.
You can rest now.
And I do like that he wasn't like he didn't get like the full like what we see in a lot of movies when people die. It's just like they get that like I can actually talk fine for like 2 minutes before I just go ugh. You know what I mean? Like
He was already gone. You didn't even
Like,
know
he
if he
could-
was
he
really
was-
paying attention.
yeah, he was just kind of in full shock mode where like oh fuck I'm dead.
Yeah.
And I like that they did that. It was more real for me in that way.
Yeah.
once again, there's moments in this movie that they went against what you thought. Because I was like, if someone's going to die, they're going to have this big heroic speech or something. He really just was like, I forgot what he does say something, but no, he doesn't say anything, does he?
No. Now, there's a cut scene that was filmed, and you can find it online, of in the aftermath them realizing that he's dead, and they all take a knee.
For Kaepernick.
There is that scene.
For
Yeah.
Kaepernick.
No, not for. Yes, for Kaepernick. He is there. No,
Yeah,
for
it pans over and you just see Kaepernick, like they just threw him in there in the back. Kaepernick's kneeling as well with them. He was invited.
One of the greatest
to this.
Avengers.
He was the NFL Avenger. Yeah.
So you could find that somewhere. Where they all realize and they'll take a knee, but they took it out because they're already going to have a memorial scene, so it felt redundant to have it in a 3-hour fucking movie. But you can find that online if you so
also,
please.
Nancy Pelosi is kneeling as well in the back.
Oh my god. And that
She
I don't want to call it stupid.
She's with
the shawl she wore, but like she wore it for
you see her kneeling next to
yeah.
Black Panther.
Yeah, God, I remember seeing that picture and someone called it cosplaying as people called it cosplaying as a Wakandan chessboard. I'm like, oh my god, this is so true. Oh my god, but yeah, he's dead. Everyone's at the funeral in their little groups, in their little like friend groups. You know, no one wants to go to the funeral alone.
Who was that one kid, by the way? There was one person standing by himself. And
you want to know who it is? It's the kid from Iron Man 3.
Do not remember.
Is that actor? He's just older. The only reason why I knew that is because that leaked that he was in the movie. We were like, what? Why? And then when you see just this random ass kid, like you're like, oh, it's probably that kid. And then you look it up later and like, yeah, it was that kid.
And this is where I want to give a shout out to the fit check up in here.
That kid?
No, Brie Larson has the best funeral outfit out of everyone. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just like sleek, and it seems like she could use it for like an interview or whatnot. But it also like had the funeral vibes. Everyone else is like traditional, and she's like, "Nah, I'm gonna bring a modern twist on this." And she just looked good, so I gotta give a shout out to Brie Larson in this scene for rocking the funeral outfit.
Sure.
Very sleek, very modern. 9 out of
10. Wanda and Hawkeye, they talk a little bit about the people that they've lost.
This felt weird.
Yeah, because they don't know each other at all.
Like, who are you?
I mean, they did fight.
They did fight at because Hawkeye saves her. Remember? Not saves her, but like talks to her during that one scene when the city. He's the one where he's that's the point where he says like, none of this makes any sense. I'm literally shooting robots with arrows, like in a city that's flying. Literally with the best line in that film.
Yeah, but they don't really know each other. But
besides that, it felt kind of like that didn't need to be there. But I guess they were setting up for
no, they were on the same side in Civil War, though. They were fighting together. They were on Captain America's side. So at least like they got the cool kid side was the Captain America side. Let's be real here.
The actual rational, the rational side is it was cool to pick Iron Man just because of Spider-Man. But like if I really had a slur in allegiance, you pick Iron Man every time or Captain America every time just because fuck the government.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's even that callback when, Tony Stark, he's finally back on Earth and he's like basically dead, so he's out of it. But he said he wanted to put a suit of armor around the world, even if it cost our precious freedoms. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like that's
like
literally
in that moment,
why.
you're like, okay, you gotta let him vent this one out because
he
clearly
gets to
pissed.
talk.
Yeah.
He's about to pass out. But he's dead. Everyone's okay. They're really sad. I love you 3000 hologram.
He did have a good message too. I liked it was. I think he said, where was it here? Where the hell did I put it? Part of the journey is the end. I just like that. It's a good message to tell the kids because death actually happens.
These movies won't exist forever, kids. Oh, wait. Yes, they will.
This Avengers won't exist forever, that's for sure.
Sure. Eventually it'll get deleted. It'll just get erased. But yeah, and then we get some of the post-clean wrap-up. Captain America goes back in time. I do love the fact that, and I noticed this again the third time, really paying attention for it, Bucky knows that he's not coming back. Because he says goodbye to him. Like, actually goodbye to him before he goes back in time. So he knew. Whether or not he was told, he knew.
He knew the vibe check.
He said, I'm going to miss you. You wouldn't say that if you're going to see him in 5 seconds. Literally in 5 seconds. You know what I mean? So he knew that. But then, I loved the fact that, and then because he knew that, he didn't even walk up to old man Captain America. He let Sam Wilson, Falcon, go up. He said, you go talk to him, you know. I don't want to talk to this guy. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, you do talk to him. He hands over the shield, so that's cool.
I want to know how he got there. Did he drive up there?
Probably.
He biked.
Yeah. Who knows how long it was in between then and the fight? Because obviously he's not going to go there during the fight.
He's driving up. He's like, he sees explosions in the distance. He's like, I'm going to be right on time.
Too early.
Yeah, he does a pit stop. He's like, I'm going to get a burger real quick.
Exactly. A stray missile nukes the gas station he's at.
Yeah.
Kills him instantly.
That's a good point. Yeah. What if he just like fucked up and he gets just gets shot with a missile or some shit?
Yeah. But yeah, so that happens.
No, I don't think I will. For some reason, I thought I misremembered how that scene went because all the memes I've seen, I'm just it seems very cocky in the meme, being like, "Hey, will you finish your homework?" No, I don't think I will. That kind of energy. I just totally forgot what actually happens in the scene. So I was happy. I was like, hey, and I can remember what actually happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I'm I thought he sounds like an asshole, in my memory, and I'm that's not what it was.
Guardians time. Thor and the Guardians, they're going off for a new adventure. We gotta pick a place to go to, but there's a little bit of a quarrel on who's exactly leading this ship, and I love the scene. It's just so good. They had such good chemistry. I wish we had a movie that did that.
Just for a good hour and a half, even if it's a small,
or just
shorter one.
More than we got in Thor: Love and Thunder, where it's just we both know who's in charge. Me? Yes, you. Yes, you. I love that so much. But they're just you guys can fight with knives. And then they're like, yes, knives. And then Groot says, I am Groot. And the line he said is written by the Russo brothers says, yes, I like knives. That's what Groot says.
Guess it makes the dialogue a little bit better for me. But I don't know that unless you've told me. It's funny.
But yeah. And the movie ends there.
That is a very edgy teen thing to say. Yeah, I like knives.
Especially as a tree.
Well, I mean, he
can whittle himself.
The edgy kid in school who could do the cool knife thing, flip it.
I had a butterfly knife.
Yeah, a butterfly.
I'd never tried.
Definitely
to do the thing.
This Groot gives me that vibe where he's kind of a edgy teen.
Yeah. Can you even buy a butterfly knife? Are those legal? I
think it depends what state you're in. I know that
I have one in a box somewhere.
I know that in some states you can't have the
brass knuckles,
the not lever action, but button. When you press the button, the knife comes out.
Oh, switchblade?
Yeah, you can't have a switchblade. In Colorado you can't. New Mexico you can't. I only know this because long story short, when I was in Santa Fe visiting, there was a stand that the dude was selling handmade pens. Super nice pens, and I got one.
Okay.
But one of them had he's I used to make ones that had knives, but those are illegal, so I can't sell them. Ones that where you could pull it apart and there would be a knife inside of it or some shit like that. But he's you can't do that. I'm he's also, it's not handy for self defense. Or no, he had a pocket knife version. But he's I would make it lever action, but that's illegal. That's what he said.
Interesting. Yeah, and Captain America gets his one last dance with Peggy.
Question. So is there, in that universe, is that the one that comes out of the ice? Or is there another body of him just chilled in the ice somewhere?
Something like that.
Right?
Here's the thing. He would have created a new timeline by simply being with her, so he wouldn't have been able to live into the one that he was already from. No, I would imagine he went back after the war. He wouldn't want to relive that, I will say, though, 1940s, right?
Yeah.
She looks the same in 1970.
Was it 1970? I thought it was
1970 is when they went back. When they went back to Jersey State, they said 1970, and she looked the same. That's how his, Tony Stark's dad looked the way he was.
And then
'cause it
she
was the
ages
70s.
very quick because in Captain America, the first movie, it's like what, 2010 or something when he comes back, like to our era. So like he wakes up from the. I don't remember him waking up from the ice. When did that happen?
It was the post credits of Captain America, because that was the last movie before Avengers, and they wanted to use him waking up as the. You're in the real world now. He's like, where's Peggy? She died because she's old. Well, no, she died. She dies in
It's in Avengers,
she dies in
isn't it?
another movie. She died. No, she dies in Captain America: Winter Soldier or Civil War,
One of them,
because he
yeah.
goes to her funeral. I don't know. Movie's over.
But
Groot says one line.
Also, he has the opportunity if he's going back. Because I was like, what is he going to do as a job? Does he work in the military? What does he do? And I'm like, I would not work. I would just bring back a list, an almanac of just like all the MLB teams that have won World Series, any sports thing where I could bet on, lottery ticket numbers. Like, bro could have been making it. He could have been living rich in his timeline. That's probably why he was able to get to the.
I feel like that still could somehow butterfly effect shit. If one person's making a lot of money off sports betting, does sports betting stop?
No, I'm saying he could have done it once or twice.
Because you think about Back to the Future,
yeah,
too, right? That's what Biff did, right, with the sports almanac. He bet on fucking everything. Wouldn't there eventually be the let's stop the sports? Let's do something would have changed because they see this man becoming a quadrillionaire off of this. I don't know. I think
But they said in this
Peggy
movie
probably
that
made a
there
lot
is
of money.
there is no butterfly effect, though.
Sure, it's just a completely different universe.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know.
good for him.
Stuff happens. Good for him. You could tell he went back probably to the 50s because the door was open. Simpler time. You could leave your door open.
I do find it kind of cool that Captain America's whole message in the beginning of the movie is all about like we need to move on, we need to move on. But they keep showing that he hasn't moved on, and he really doesn't move on because he gets the opportunity to go back in time and get with his girl.
Yeah.
So I guess
Yeah.
his message is like kind of both correct, but also not because he has the opportunity.
It's true. He also, let's keep in mind too, he brings the hammer back because he takes it with him. Now, a lot of people seem to notice the fact that he was holding the hammer when he went back in time, but he did. I personally would have kept it if I was him. It's the perfect weapon. But yeah, movie's over. Credits roll. No post credits.
I remembered that, and I stopped watching.
Yeah, I skipped through obviously because I'm not sitting here through the credits. I do like that they did the silver signatures for the main six.
That was really cool. Like the main.
I think a Star Trek movie did that. So like one of the old Star Trek movies did
That's
that.
cool. No, yeah, I really liked that. Just them and having like I think they did like a professional, obviously professional. I meant like some sort of like video of just like them behind a green screen to do it. Like they just looked very cool.
Yeah. Yep. Very, very cool. Movie's over. So, we gotta rank this movie, and we rank them on two different lists in the Chronicles of Diesel here.
We do.
We have our two lists are the movie ranking list and the Vin Diesel performance list. Obviously the Vin Diesel one is regarding to his character, which, was in this movie. The movie itself, I feel like, let's talk about that for a little bit. Not that we haven't already been talking about the movie. I like the movie quite a bit. I just now realize I think I say that exact phrase. I liked the movie quite a bit every single fucking time we go to rank a movie on this list. And I'm really self-aware of this right now. Wow. I liked the movie quite a bit. I feel like I liked it more than Infinity War because I felt like it was exciting. I don't know if I necessarily like it more than the Guardians movies in terms of a singular individual package. But also, you can't deny that this movie, as corny as it is to say, this movie was epic. It really was.
It was like we said at the top. It's a phenomenon that I think it will never happen in the way that we can visualize right now. Like it might be some build up. Not I'm saying necessarily Marvel, but some sort of thing might come. I would say we're talking about Avatar. Avatar, I would say, was a phenomenon when that movie came out because of its 3D effects and stuff like that. Titanic was a phenomenon
because it's water effects.
because they actually sunk a ship and killed a lot of people.
Yeah.
No, I just think that we're not going to get something exactly like this ever again.
And they're going to try. They're doing Secret Wars. Is their next Endgame type of
We'll
movie.
see if it
but I don't
hits
know
the
if it's
same
going to be
way.
the same as this, you know?
There was definitely like a build up to this, even if you were late to it, like I was, because I watched all of them like 6 months prior to this one coming out, just to kind of catch up. So yeah, there's definitely like it's a phenomenon, and almost everyone saw it. You probably could find 10 random people on the street, and probably 9 out of 10 of them saw the movie either in theaters or afterwards. It's just one of those things, and but like as a standalone thing, I agree. It's like I don't know if you could just watch this standalone thing and understand the impact it
Yeah, at
has.
the very least, need to watch the Infinity War before it. At the very least. But even then, I remember when that movie came out, and we talked about it on that episode, there were people being like, wow, you can't just watch this on its own. You won't know who half these people are. The movie does not attempt to tell you. And I think this movie does a little bit better of a job at doing that than Infinity War, funnily enough. But yeah, I mean, this is a movie that requires a few others to watch first, which is interesting. And it literally calls back to, in major ways, specific ones. Like, you need to see Guardians 1. You need to. You need to see Avengers 1. You know what I mean? You need to see, as funny as it is, Thor 2. In order to actually know why him meeting his mom is important to him.
Why is he there? You know what I mean? And
you know,
what is this scene? But yeah, so I think it hits on the nostalgia. It closes a lot of loops. There's a lot of really cool scenes in this that I think stand on their own.
Visually striking.
Yeah, I think there's not really like a bad part for me that like I really didn't like. I mean, besides like I think the critique, its length is that's why I haven't seen
but
it.
Like
since the
I
movie.
don't dislike it for its length.
I just have to be in a point at some part of my life to be like, okay, I need to make time on my day for this. This isn't something I could just, hey, you want to watch Avengers Endgame? It's been a minute.
Not every movie is something that you would want to throw on in the background. Some are and some aren't. It doesn't make there's
been times where I'm like, hey, I haven't seen this movie in a long time. Oh, it's an hour and 45 minutes. Cool. Want to watch it tonight? Cool. And I'm like, I can't do that with this movie, unfortunately, just because it's so long. And I'm like, I get roughly 6 hours after work before I go to bed and do it all over again. I don't know if I want to spend half of it just watching this movie. You know what I mean? So like, it's tough. I don't want to make a big critique of that, but the only other critique I had was with the Hawkeye, where I feel like there was something missing, felt kind of off from the rest of the subplots. I wish we got more of Hulk, that whole thing, but I guess that's how they made a TV show. And there was just like we talked about some small little scenes here and there I wish could have been done a little differently. But yeah, overall I think this is a great movie. I think the intro is really, I think the good, and the ending is very good. And I think it does a pretty good pace where I don't feel like I'm bored for a 3.5 hour or 3 hour movie.
Agreed.
There's not like a part where I'm like, okay, yeah, I remember this part. Granted, if I watched it one more time, like in the next month, that would probably change. But considering it's been a couple of years, and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't remember this. I did not remember that. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Oh, we're on to this scene. Okay, cool. Like there's constant movement, there's constant action, or interesting dialogue, or some funny scene, and you're getting that.
Yeah, for sure. The movie ranking list is as follows. Number 1, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Number 2, Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 3, Saving Private Ryan. Number 4, Fast 5. Number 5, Avengers Infinity War. Number 6, The Fate of the Furious. Number 7, Fast and Furious 6. Number 8, Furious 7. Number 9, Triple X. 10, The Fast and the Furious. 11, Triple X Return of Xander Cage. 12, Ralph Breaks the Internet. 13, The Iron Giant. 14, Riddick. 15, Awakenings. 16, Fast and Furious. 17, A Man Apart. 18, Find Me Guilty. 19, Boiler Room. 20, The Chronicles of Riddick. 21, Pitch Black. 22, The Last Witch Hunter. 23, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. 24, Vin Diesel. 25, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. 26, Knockaround Guys. 27, Wheelman. 28, The Pacifier. 29, Babylon AD. 30, Los Bandoleros. 31, The Chronicles of Riddick, Assault on Dark Athena. 32, The Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay. 33, Multifacial. 34, The Chronicles of Riddick, Dark Fury. 35, Strays. 36, Wiz Khalifa featuring Charlie Puth, See You Again. 37, Fast and Furious Supercharged. And 38, Riddick Blindsided. Where do we want to put this movie?
I forgot to mention, I do agree that this is a little bit better than Infinity War. My issue with Infinity War is I didn't like the setting of the last battle, just because it kind of clashed with like the color palette of the characters. It just felt like that fight is in a weird, not in the open. I didn't mind the open field.
I think I can agree with you.
It was in that like weird like subsection of the forest near a cliff, like just random.
Yeah.
Just felt very random. Not where you think the final battle would be. This one, like I said, I was like, wow, it's kind of funny. It's in Western New York in the middle of nowhere. Kind of funny, again, that they just were like, we're just going to nuke it, though. But at least it felt, just felt like this is the final battle stage. You know what I mean? Because they blew it up.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll give it that. But like overall, I just think this is a better packaged thing, despite it having an additional half hour on top of what Infinity War was. And like I said earlier, it just never stopped moving. It felt like it was a good pace. It didn't feel like 3 hours. So for me, I think it's got to be above Infinity War.
Yeah, I would put it above Infinity War. Now, is it above Fast Five, Saving Private Ryan, or the two Guardians of the Galaxy movies?
I think we said earlier that both Guardian movies, I think, are just good standalone things. You don't need to know too much going in. And I think they
also have a message that this movie really doesn't have.
Yeah. Besides
don't give up.
Besides don't give up, or if you have one shot, take it, kinda. And also
second chances.
Also like
moving on.
You might die eventually, and that's okay, I guess. So like I liked there's the whole Iron Man thing where I liked what they're doing. It just feel like it wasn't like the main heavy hitter of like. Yeah, because he knew he was going to die potentially. But anyways, so yeah, I think Guardians Volume 2 and those top two I think need to stay. Saving Private Ryan is a very just well constructed film. I think from point A to point B, big drama. I want to say it's above this movie just because it's a standalone thing. It I think does more of what it's trying to tell. In a shorter time frame, it stands up to the test of time despite it being a almost 22-year-old movie.
Yeah.
All the acting's great in it. So I feel like I think it's too much of a. I don't know. It's hard for me to like put that up to this movie that's straight sci-fi. Let's be real. Comic booky as hell. I feel like Saving Private Ryan is closer to perfect than this movie is. I guess that's the best way I can describe it.
Okay.
In terms of a movie making sense and a full package.
Sure. And I have said in the past, I think that Fast Five is a perfect movie. I feel like this is our new number 5, unless you disagree with me. Avengers Endgame right above Infinity War and below Fast Five.
Because Fast Five is a good place to start for people in the Fast and Furious. Like you honestly could just watch Fast Five onward and be okay.
You can honestly just watch Fast Five and none of the others at all and be okay too.
Yeah.
You know,
have a good ride, pun intended.
Yeah.
So I kind of agree. Let's just put it at 5. I can hear an argument of why it could be above Fast Five, but I just think that I agree with you that Fast Five is much better of a like standalone thing. And it just has there's something more about it. You know what I mean? Once again, I think it actually hurts this movie that it is 3 hours long, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, but it's a great
It's a great 3 hours, but
it's event viewing. When Fast Five, I feel like could be monthly, and I would not be upset.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Vin Diesel's performance. This is Summer of Groot, man.
So
it says I am Groot once.
We how many Groot movies have we seen, or Groot related things have we seen in the last 6 months?
Guardians. Well, okay. Well, in the last 6 months, there was.
I call it Groot's Summer because
Ralph Breaks the Internet. I Am Groot. Avengers: Infinity War. Guardians 2. So that's 4 things.
So in
Plus
the
this
summer,
is 5.
and we watched the Groot series for our special
Right.
episode. So
Exactly. This is the 5th thing
so
we've
yeah, it
done.
really is the summer of Groot because we made it the summer of Groot. But I'm at the point where I'm kind of sick of Groot. I'm not gonna lie. Where I'm like, we only watched this
point
movie
is because of this show.
We only watched this
fair.
movie because, and not saying I didn't not like the ride, but we wouldn't have watched this movie if Groot doesn't say a word in it, yeah, if he doesn't say a word in it, yeah, that's pretty. Because I don't think he did the mocap for this or anything. There's no way he did. They probably just animated it.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say it. I think this is his weakest performance, just because I've seen it done now 6 times.
Sick and tired of this man for real.
And he only said one
Let
line.
me read
he
off.
There's not like a back and forth. There isn't. His scene is funny now that you gave me context to it. I don't know that full context necessarily. And even if I do, I still think I'm kind of sick. I'm kind of sick of it.
And plus, his last line in Avengers Infinity War was saying "Dad," like that was what that I am Groot meant as he's fading away. But let me read off the Vin Diesel performance ranking for the sake
Maybe
of
it'll change after
posterity.
we read it off. Let's see.
Posterity was that word. Number 1, Triple X. Number 2, The Fast and the Furious. Number 3, Triple X Return of Xander Cage. Number 4, Fast and Furious. Number 5, Find Me Guilty. 6, Fast and Furious 6. 7, Riddick. 8, Furious 7. 9, A Man Apart. 10, Fast 5. 11, The Last Witch Hunter. 12, The Pacifier. 13, The Chronicles of Riddick. 14, Babylon AD. 15, Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk. 16, Los Bandoleros. 17, The Fate of the Furious. 18, Guardians of the Galaxy. 19, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. 20, Boiler Room. 21, Multifacial. 22, Pitch Black. 23, Knockaround Guys. 24, Strays. 25, The Chronicles of Riddick Dark Fury. 26, The Iron Giant. 27, Saving Private Ryan. 28, Vin Diesel. 29, The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. 30, Avengers Infinity War. 31, The Chronicles of Riddick Assault on Dark Athena. 32, Wheelman. 33, The Chronicles of Riddick Escape from Butcher Bay. 34, Ralph Breaks the Internet. 35, Riddick Blindsided. 36, Fast and Furious Supercharged. 37, Wiz Khalifa featuring Charlie Puth, See You Again. And 38, Awakenings. I think it's lower than Avengers Infinity War, literally because he has scenes in that movie where he makes decisions, the character does, and Vin has more lines than this. To me, I guess we then fight between this and Ralph Breaks the Internet on which one. Because I could go either way.
And Ralph Breaks the Internet, and I feel like it's more funny, I guess. Like more cute. More of what Groot is supposed to do. Like in this, he just has that bratty lines, I like knives, I guess. I'm not saying I hated it, but it's just like I've seen it so much. I'm just like I want to see something new with Groot, and we got a little bit more in the I Am Groot TV show.
We forgot about Thor: Love and Thunder. We did 6 Groot things this summer.
That's the thing. It's the summer of Groot.
Fuck.
For us,
We just haven't ranked I Am Groot and Thor: Love and Thunder yet. We're gonna do that
at
the end of this whole thing.
At a later date.
Yeah.
So for me, I want to put it as the lowest one, just because it's one line, it's fine, and you gave me more context. Not the last one. I'm not saying 39, but like it's got to go under.
Oops, I put it underneath Riddick Blindsided by accident. It's not that bad. Put it under Ralph Breaks the Internet. It's our new number 35.
Because Blindsided was just bad decision.
Yes. It's just
and Supercharged, I was like, what? Why? And
bad decision.
Wiz Khalifa,
Charlie Puth was like reused
really,
footage, but he's credited.
And Awakenings, we've talked about plenty of times.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Ralph Breaks the Internet 34, Avengers Endgame 35.
We watched a 3-hour movie for a half a second clip.
Drop his ass at the bottom.
I think this beats Awakenings in terms of just like how crazy we are. Like, you know what I mean? Like the amount of time we watched an entire thing for the context of one scene. At least,
hey man,
at least he says something and not like an Awakening. Because Awakenings was what, like a 2-hour, like 10-minute movie, if I remember correctly. It was a longer one.
1 hour 20 minutes. So it was
really. It felt longer. It was slow and sad.
And sad, but there's a little bit of hope. But then it just ends poorly. Not poorly as in terms of a bad movie, but it's just sad. Just do keep in mind, though, at one point we were crazier and decided to have this and Rolf Breaks the Internet in 1 month. We decided no.
Yeah, that was a good call.
Because the idea was, they're two very small roles.
But the length of content
them.
we needed to watch would have been...
That would have been 6 hours of fucking footage, it would have felt like.
Well, don't worry.
Yeah.
We have potentially 6 hours on the horizon with a video game, assuming you can beat it in 6 hours.
Yeah, I Am to Beat says Fast and Furious Crossroads is 4.5 hours, so round that up to 6 for the sake of things. But yeah, next month is going to be Bloodshot.
We're going back
2020.
home. It's a homecoming.
I haven't seen that movie since. I own that movie. You own that movie.
We did. We bought it right.
Don't
when
need to buy it again. Don't need to pay
was-
for it. Literally getting our money's worth.
It's the start of the pandemic movie. It really is. For us, it was. Because we saw Sonic, and then we're like, hey, 2 weeks, we're going to see Bloodshot. And then, like, I think that weekend that Bloodshot came out, it was like, we're closing everything. Sorry.
Bloodshot's like, no.
I want to say, like, this.
Wow,
yeah,
Bloodshot was 1 hour and 9 minutes.
I want to say what was the other one? It was Bloodshot, and then it was Fast and Furious, Fate of the Furious, which were like my two like check mark kind of bookmarks for this show.
Okay.
Because when we first talked about doing this show, it was around when we watched Fate of the Furious. We're like, oh, this guy is something. And then for me, we're getting back to Bloodshot because that's when we kind of really actually started the show.
We reviewed Bloodshot before actually doing Awakenings.
So, like, for me, it's just like those were like when I looked at our big list here, I was like, when we get to those, that's like a big deal for me. So, like, I'm really excited to watch Bloodshot just for the reason that's like can't believe it's already been 2 years, 3 years, whatever. I don't fucking know how time works anymore. 2 years since we last watched it, and like we're here. It's part of the finish line. It's like we're getting the runner's high. At this point, running on adrenaline. Hell yeah. It's crazy.
I'm excited. And when we finally catch up and all things are said and done, then eventually we'll keep doing more because he's not going to stop making stuff. But yeah, this was a fun episode of the Chronicles of Diesel, a show you can find on a variety of places, including YouTube. Please check us out there, and Spotify, Apple Music, and Audible.
Give us a
Amazon.
rating. Because that helps with the algorithm and SEO and all that shit.
Everyone tells you this. We mean it, though. Like and subscribe.
What would Vin Diesel do? He would like and subscribe.
Absolutely.
One day he will.
We found our beach. You will, too, right here on the Sonic Movie Show. You can follow the Sonic Movie Show on Twitter at Sonic Movie Show, on TikTok at Sonic Movie Show. Our two hosts, myself, Ethan, on Twitter at Ethan Absolutely. Devin is on Twitter at CursonaFun. Let us know what you thought about Avengers Endgame, but only really the parts that we care about, which is the Groot stuff. Like, you can, if you want to tweet, like, oh man, I loved it when Captain America did, like, cool, we'll take it. But give us your thoughts about Groot. Is the summer of Groot really come to a close, or we have a Groot renaissance? A Groot renaissance. I'm upset that we didn't coin this phrase and realize this at the start of the summer.
Oh yeah, we got
instead of here it's September.
Yeah.
September 1st, folks. All right. We'll see you next month for another episode. And this one is coming home, Bloodshot. Have a fantastic day.
What is it with you? What do you got, a death wish or something?
That's what it takes. I just want to race. Ride or die, remember?